octubre y eso quiere decir que pronto se acerca el Día de las Brujas. Y para celebrar, hoy les vamos a contar unas historias terroríficas y espeluznantes.
Hello, come in. Let's gather around. I'm going to share a story with you that I learned from my abuelita. It's the story of Juanita and how she danced with the devil. Are you ready? Acércanse. Okay. Un día, Juanita, one day she came home very late past her curfew. As she crept slowly into the house, trying not to disturb her parents, she slowly closed the front door, and then all of a sudden, her mother turned on the light, and Juanita spun around in despair. Ay, mamá, why do you have to scare me like that? ¿Por qué me asustas? And her mother said, Juanita, you have been late coming home too many times. You know that we worry about you. Your papa and I are very concerned that you don't follow the house rules and you don't come home on time. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to ground you. And Juanita became very upset and very enraged. Pero mamá, ¿por qué? You know that I have a big dance to go to this Saturday with my friends, con mis amigas. The mambo is coming and we're so excited and we've been waiting for weeks and weeks and weeks. And her mother replies to her, well, you should have thought of that before breaking curfew, and my word is firm. You are grounded and you cannot go. And Juanita was so upset and she stomped off to her room and she just paced back and forth and was trying to think how in the world she could convince her parents to let her go. She decided to go to sleep. She got up the next day. She came to breakfast. And she tried bargaining with her parents. And her father said, absolutely not, Juanita. You have broken the rules far too many times. You are not going to go. And Juanita, again, became horribly enraged. And she said, ay, papa, you're so old-fashioned. I'm an adult now. Why can't I do what I want? I have my own job. I make my own money. Why do I have to have a curfew? And her father bellowed, ya basta. No more. I've said my piece. You will not go to that dance. You need to go to your room. But Papa, Juanita explained, my friends are expecting me. We have our tickets. We bought them months ago. A famous player is going to come and we're going to learn the new rage of dance, the mambo. Please, Papa, can I do something to make up for it? Please let me go. No. Ya terminamos con esta conversación. The conversation is over. Go to your room. And Juanita's so angry and she's in her room and she's pacing back and forth. And she's just lamenting about how her parents are so controlling and they just don't understand her and they don't care about her and all they want to do is ruin her life. She just wants to be free of them. She wants to live her life in peace and without being told what to do. And then the phone rings. And her mom comes and tells her, Juanita, it's your friend Corina. I will give you 5 minutes to speak to her. Make sure she knows que tú no vas a ir al baile. You are not going to that dance. Juanita sulks and she gets the phone and she speaks to Corina and she tells her, I'm really in trouble. I cannot go. I'm so sorry. And Corina tells her, well, why don't you just wait until your parents fall asleep and sneak out the window? We'll wait for you down the street. It's the mambo. We have to go. I don't know, Corina. My parents are really, really upset with me, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. She hangs up the phone and she continues to pace in her room and she's very, very angry and soon it's nightfall. And she waits and she waits and she waits until it's silent and it's the dead of the night and she tries to make sure that her parents are sleeping. She peeks into their room and she sneaks down the hallway. She goes to her room and she quietly gets dressed because she's determined to go to this dance. She sneaks out the window and she runs down the street where her friends are waiting and they drive 45 minutes to the next town. And they arrive at Club Diablo. And there's music and there's lights and there's young people and everybody's having fun and everybody's beautifully dressed. And they go inside and they find their table and the music is overwhelming and the lights are intensely bright and no one can actually hear each other speak. The three girls, they go to sit at the table. It's Maria, Corina, and Juanita. And they're having a great time just listening to the music. And then Corina and Maria's boyfriends arrive at the table and they go to dance. And Juanita is seated at the table because she doesn't have a date, and she's thinking, oh, great, am I just going to sit at this table all night? Maybe I should have just stayed home like my parents said. When all of a sudden, a tall, dark, handsome man approached her and put out his hand and asked her to dance. And she was just mesmerized by this beautiful, handsome man. And they danced and they danced and they danced, and he just had her under his spell. They became the perfect couple of the night. She was in sync with his steps, in sync with his rhythm, and they made everyone on the dance floor scattered. They had the dance floor to themselves. And all of a sudden, she starts hearing an echo. And she's thinking, what do I hear? What is that noise? And the handsome man says, don't worry about anybody else. Just concentrate on me. We're having a great time. Don't worry. And she keeps thinking, I'm hearing a familiar voice. I'm hearing a familiar voice. And then all of a sudden, it's her mom. Her mom is there, and her mom is seemingly so far away. And she screams, her mother screams her name, Juanita, Juanita, look, estás bailando con el diablo. Look at his feet. And the handsome stranger covers his feet, and he cloaks, and she's trying to see, and she's trying to break free, and she finally steps back, and she sees the man's feet are actually chicken feet. And she's immediately terrified, and she's trying to reach to her mother, and she can't, and she's like, Mama, ¿qué hago? What do I do? What do I do? And the handsome man completely transforms. And then all of a sudden, it seems like they're transported into a completely different place. There's no music. There's no lights. There's nothing. And she's looking at this horrible, horrible beast that is now immensely tall and eyes that burn with fire. And he's looking at her and he's saying, remember, Juanita? Remember you wanted to be away from your parents? Remember you wanted your freedom? And she said, no, I want to go home. Please let me go. And he says, no, you are with me. You are mine now. And she is fighting his grip, and she manages to break loose, and she runs, se va corriendo, and she runs and she's screaming, and he's in hot pursuit right after her, and he's coming, and she's running with every bone in her body, with every bit of fear that she can muster up. He's coming after her. She bursts through the door of her home, and her dad stands there, and he says, you need to leave. She is my daughter. Ella es de mi sangre. Tú no le puedes llevar. She's mine. You are not going to take her. And the devil stands back, and he transforms back into the handsome, illustrious man and says, Juanita, you are protected for now, but remember, I will come back. Remember, you wanted your freedom. I will always be here. I will always be waiting. And with that, he just vanished out of sight. Then the next morning, Juanita wakes up and she goes to call Corina. And Corina begins to tell her, oh, Juanita, you missed an incredible night. We had so much fun. We really, really missed you. We learned the mambo. We learned the salsa. We had so much fun. It was a perfect night, and it would have been even more perfect with your presence. And Juanita said, what are you talking about? I was there. And Corina says, no, Juanita, you were not there with us. And Juanita slowly hung up the phone and sat on her bed and wondered to herself, was it a dream? Did I dance with El Diablo? Did I break my parents' word and go? One will never know. And that is, my children, my teens, why you should listen to your parents. Because you never know if you too could end up dancing with El Diablo himself, the devil.
La historia que yo les voy a contar es una historia que según es de la vida real y pasó en el pueblo de donde son mis papás. Entonces, este es el cuento de Elena. Hace muchos años había un papá que tenía unas hijas y era soltero, se había divorciado y tenía 2 o 3 hijas, pero su favorita era la más mayor, que se llamaba Elena. Y el señor era soltero, entonces se casó y sus hijas tuvieron una madrastra. Entonces les daba muchos regalos a sus hijas, las quería mucho, especialmente a Elena. La madrastra como que le daba celos, no se sentía cómoda con la hija, le tenía celos. Pensaba que todo el amor que le tenía que dar el papá a la esposa se lo estaba dando a la hija. Y en este tiempo había pozos de agua en las casas de la gente para que tomar agua y todo eso. Y no sé cómo pasó, si la madrastra mató a Elena o la mandó a matar. Bueno, Elena muere y la ponen en el pozo. Y lo que cuenta la madrastra es que, según Elena, era una descarada y se fue con un hombre. Y entonces pasan algunos años, la familia de Elena ya no vive ahí, la madrastra ya no vive ahí y vive otra familia. Dice mi tía que antes en los pozos, para limpiar el agua o si se morían cosas ahí, mandaban a las tortugas y las tortugas comían todos los desechos y así se limpiaba el pozo. Entonces sacaban las tortugas y las tortugas salían muertas. Entonces pensaron, algo malo está pasando en ese pozo o algo tiene el agua. Entonces va esa familia a investigar, alguien se mete al pozo y encuentra que hay huesos de una muchacha. No se reconoce mucho, pero sí se reconoce que los huesos son de una mujer, así como la edad que tenía Elena cuando falleció. Se cuenta que cerca de esa casa se les aparece a alguien. Y se les aparecía a niños y decían que era Elena. Y se piensa que Elena se les aparecía a los niños y a la gente del pueblo, no para asustarlos, pero para que la buscaran y encontraran sus huesos y le dieran un entierro así apropiado, que encontraran que ella no se fue con alguien, no se desapareció, es que la mató la madrastra. Entonces es un cuento triste, pero de la vida real.